Hello, ladies, and welcome to our topic of the day: how to inspire chivalry on the way to marriage and dating for specifically. Because we don't just teach dating in general; it's really with the intention for ladies that want to go from single to brides. So this is chivalry too. It's key, I believe, for marriage. You need to meet a man who is chivalrous, because I say it's the gateway to marriage. He'll keep showing up and showing up in these noble ways. But the problem is there is a huge thought out there, and I see why, that chivalry is dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you've heard this a lot too, right, honey?
We see it a lot on like TikTok videos, right? Like women will be complaining that men don't pick up the check, or they never pursue anymore, or they don't treat them, with the same kind of nobility perhaps that women would want them to, right? And so, yeah, we definitely see this is a big theme with a lot of the women that come into our work, or the women that we see in the culture at large, complaining that like chivalry is dead. And there's some truth to that, for sure. Like there definitely is kind of a flattening out of chivalry in our culture. Unfortunately, I think it's due to a number of different things, and we can talk a little bit about some of those factors that may be at play. But yeah, there absolutely is like a flattening out of chivalry. There is like a general sentiment out there in the world of dating and the culture right now that like just men don't pursue, they don't initiate, they don't lead, and they don't want to provide. And women are just sort of in this space. We see this again and again. Women are almost in this space of feeling a little bit like exasperated at the lack of chivalry and nobility within men today. So we want to talk about this topic a little bit. We want to deep dive into this topic and share perhaps why some of this, why you might be experiencing this, or why this is taking place at the greater, in the context of the greater culture at large, and what you can do specifically as a woman to inspire chivalry in the men that you meet. Because this lack of chivalry that we're seeing in the culture right now, it doesn't exist in a vacuum, right? There are a lot of different things influencing them, and it's not completely outside of our control as women, or outside of the domain of our own, let's say, feminine influence to actually change, not necessarily at like the macro level, right? But certainly in the micro level of our own lives. It's something that we can actually actively inspire if, on your journey of dating to marriage, right? So let's talk about that. Like, so is chivalry is dead, or in some ways it's dead, but it doesn't have to be.
Right. Okay. Well, we were going to just talk about the 3 ways you can inspire it, but I think it's important and fun to talk a little bit about the cultural context, the macro. And what amazes me whenever I'll watch the manosphere and I'll watch the womanosphere, and they're both missing the mark. It's incredible to me, because I feel like we've got these codes that solves these solutions, but men will be like, well, this is why we don't step up. This is why we don't carry bags of groceries, because of the Me Too movement or this. And women are like, well, chivalry is just dead and men don't know how to do this and they're badly behaving. But really, I think it's because we don't know what we're doing. I often say
it comes down to
when you don't know what you're doing, your love life doesn't work out, and you'll blame the other sex.
Yeah.
Or you'll blame the dating sphere, or all of this. And this is happening at such a mass societal level, and we need to get men and women along. We need to get them to get along and get married. This is how we have civilization and how we have families.
Yeah.
And chivalry is the absolute key to marriage. So if you just go around thinking it's dead, or men refuse to do it, then we're in a lot of trouble here.
Yeah, definitely. Well said, Nate. So yeah, we can definitely talk about like a little bit of the macro societal issue if you want, and then we can dive into kind of like some of the stuff that we teach our clients that really makes a big difference.
Yeah, well, I got into mine. I think the manosphere is saying, well, me too, we don't want to risk it. Women are, they said they wanted to do everything, so let's let them do it.
Yeah, I think that's really what it is.
I think these are hyper red-pilled guys. I don't think, and these are often men, heck hath no fury like a man burned in love. I think a lot of them got burned from bad discernment in the past, wrong approach, and so they think women are like that. So that's the manosphere side of this. I think they blame all the societal stuff, and it's definitely out there. But like all good things, you can just, you can avoid that and go on
another way.
Yeah, and you just find women that really are receptive to chivalry. And that's what's fun about it, is some aren't going to be. And so if you're chivalrous, you'll know who the good ones are. Whereas on the women's side, what would you think is?
Yeah, I mean, I do think it has a lot to do with feminism and like just the whole, you know, insistence on equality in everything, and the kind of flattening out of the gender roles, and like really this trying to make everyone the same and trying to make men and women equal. We've unfortunately sacrificed a lot of the beautiful dance of the masculine and feminine that really does create chivalry, and it does really inspire this beautiful dance of receptivity and feminine receptivity and masculine provision in this beautiful dance that when we know how to really embark upon, really can create extraordinary results in our love lives.
Wow, so it's like this gray communism of equaling and flattening out that knocks out the beautiful energetic potentiality we have as men and women.
Yeah.
But all that can just be avoided. So that's what's so amazing about this. And it is a phenomenon, and if you felt this in your own life, like most of our clients, we've got really good news.
Yeah.
Are there chivalrous men out there?
Oh yeah.
Are they alive and kicking?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what percent, but even if it's only like 30% of the population, I think it's more that are marriage minded. That's a huge amount of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those are the ones we're going for. So why don't we dive into what you can actually do to invite chivalry in your love life on the way to getting engaged and married?
Definitely, and this is what we see with our clients all of the time, right? So again, they'll come into our container and be our now 4-month program, the King's Road, and they'll be like, Claudia, like, Jonathan, I want to experience this. I want to experience men pursuing me. I want to experience men leading and initiating and taking care of me and giving me princess treatment and taking me out and spoiling me and all of these things. Like, I deeply desire that, right? And I deeply desire to be married, and I deeply desire to be married to a man like that, right? And this is what we see with our clients over and over and over again, is that when they get these tools, when they understand our feminine responsibility in setting the tone, setting a specific tone that inspires chivalry, then the whole game changes, okay? And then we see the most, like, you know, women who have never experienced this before, women who perhaps really were very skeptical of whether they ever could have a man like that, experiencing and receiving the most extraordinary gestures of chivalry, the most like heroic acts of masculinity, where he's you know, taking her out, you know, creating this whole, like, I'm thinking about one of our clients who just recently got claimed by her man. He like created this whole beautiful picnic scenario for her, and he made her a cheesecake, and he claimed her, and it was just so beautiful and so romantic, and she had never experienced anything like this before. So it was so beautiful, and such a beautiful reflection of her doing, really letting go of her skepticism and her giving men the benefit of the doubt, and really leading into and practicing these tools that we teach. So the first one that you can begin to play with on your journey of dating for marriage is the art, like the feminine art of creating space, okay? And as somebody who has been deeply impacted by feminism in my own life, this was something I had to majorly unwind from and like really understand at a deep level, because my tendency that I learned from various people in my life and the culture certainly at large was always to like fill the space, right? Always to do the thing for myself. Like, if something can be done, I'm gonna do it, right? If something needs to be done, I'm gonna do it. If there, you know, why would I create space for him to do something for me when I'm perfectly capable of doing it on my own?
Oh.
And this was like a habit that I had to unwind from. I had to become very conscious of. I had to be very aware of, like, where am I filling in this space? Where am I not creating a void? Where am I not creating space for my husband to step in and take care of me, right? And so you may, if you have been dating or you have been looking for your man, right? You want to like get really clear around perhaps where have I been filling in the space rather than creating a void, creating a space for a man to step in, a man to step in and provide, a man to step in and take care of me, a man to step in and pick up the check, a man to step in and open the door, a man to step in and carry my groceries. Where am I always rushing out ahead to do the thing because that is what I have been habitually programmed to do, perhaps as an independent woman, or perhaps as a woman who, you know, just had this mindset that I always have to take care of myself and I always have to be this woman who is capable and who's got it all together, right? What I'm really craving is to actually like to be taken care of, right? So that's a huge, huge leap for us to make as women. Thank you, Anne. It's a huge, huge leap for us to make as women is to begin to create that space for him to step in and for him to fill the gap. Because I don't even think we like the idea of having a gap. We don't even like the idea of creating a void. Like a void makes us uncomfortable.
And I think we work with a lot of business ladies, so they're just on. And I constantly hear how exhausted they are, how overwhelmed. And I think they're doing everything themselves. So what a relief it is for them when the men step in and take charge. They initiate. That is a huge thing of when you give him space, is he's going to initiate. If you're one constant complaint we get is men don't initiate, and I want masculine initiation. Well, providing that space allows that. And let me show you how this magic works in what we teach, because we're always teaching a tonality of appreciation to the men, appreciating and being in your feminine essence. So when you're just sitting in that energy or frequency or presence of who you are, the men want to do things for you. But if you're always like shutting that down by moving too quickly, we even had that a little bit a while ago, maybe a couple of years ago. It's like, honey, can you please not race to go sit down so I can pull the chair out for you? But when you create that space, he then asks you about your interests and sets up the second date, takes you to the museum, you know, and then our clients flies you out on trips to cool places, you know, and that's what eventually gets him on a knee with a ring, which is an act of humble chivalry, but he's still taking masculine initiation. And without that space, man, I bet that's happening a lot with modern feminism. You don't get that masculine chivalry, because really what you're creating is a dynamic chemistry between men and women here, the masculine and feminine. And you want to dance with this. You don't want that flat-lined. We do have kind of equality, but it's like in different ways. We have different powers. We don't all want the same powers and do the same things all the time.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think for a lot of women too who have been conditioned to be independent, or maybe they're so used to doing everything on their own and living life on their own terms or going at their own pace, it really can be this deep reprogramming and this deep deconditioning and reconditioning of learning to slow it down and not just to immediately move ahead and to do the thing automatically that they would do for themselves, and instead create the space for the man to step in and pull out the chair, or the man to step in and pick up the check, or the man to step in and contact you versus you always reaching out or you always moving forward out ahead of him. Because I think women tend, especially in this day and age, we tend to move quickly, we tend to move, we tend to move fast. And for us to slow down and create that space, it's like learning a whole different way of being. It's learning a whole new set of steps to a dance that perhaps they've never ever learned before. I do also think that, and this brings us to one of our later points as well, women will often have this deep feeling of entitlement around what, or expectations around what a man should be like, or how he should show up on a date, or how he should be stepping up and leading and providing and protecting. and all of these things, right? She's got this long laundry list of shoulds in her mind, right? About how a man should be, the perfect man should be. But she's rarely looking at herself and being like, am I creating this space? Am I creating the atmosphere? Am I creating the environment where that I'm a match to that?
And that's what's so fun of sending women out on courtly dates versus what they've been doing for usually decades. Is we're not usually on our coaching calls together, and we get to watch these ladies sit back and have the men treat them and come to them because they're not taking over the space with tons of expectations, and they get to be treated to a whole new reality.
Yes.
And that's one of my favorite things to hear is, wow, I've never had it like this before. This is so great. He's treating me so well.
Yeah.
And then we have the other thing of slow it down.
Yeah.
Don't let him just claim you. I know this is the best it's ever been. That was the best date. Great.
Yeah.
But there's a feminine grace that also works with timing in that, because you don't want to just be claimed by the first chivalrous man that comes by. You need to be open for like a couple suitors so the whole game can play out.
Right.
But providing that space is absolutely key. And I think it solves a huge modern dilemma of our time, which is women taking over. Because when I'm on a call with a single lady, I see them as vastly unprotected. And because they're doing it all themselves, and I can't wait to get them a noble, good, masculine man who can take and lift that heavy lifting for them. But if you're always taking up the space, there's no space for him to come in.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of realizing on this conversation, that space is the key to masculine provision and protection.
It's the key to chivalry and everything that we talk about and everything that women desire from the masculine. It's like, can she just like be that void space? Can she just be that pregnant pause, like really embody that? Because I do believe that most men, especially when they're around a woman like that, most men, and of course there's exceptions to this, of course there are genuinely toxic, narcissistic, tyrannical men that you don't want to be involved with. And, right?
Or just lame guys that don't get it.
Lame guys, yeah.
You may have a date or two like that, yeah, even doing courtship.
But I do believe that most men, when they're around a woman like that, they're going to feel that instinct kick in, right? They're going to feel that that chivalry, that heroic instinct is going to be triggered within them, that they're going to want to come in, and they're going to want to pursue, and they're going to want to claim, they're going to want to keep showing up in this noble, chivalrous way. And then you get this really, really beautiful dance going that just spirals up and up and up.
Yeah, and you saying this makes me realize those that say there are no good men out there, they're the ones that don't give men space.
Yes.
Because you can't vet men if you're a good man if you're not giving that space. They're not going to show up in this attractive, active, inspiring way.
Yeah.
And so, there's no good men. Well, learn this, and then you'll start seeing them. Like that's the thing we also hear is, where were all these kings for all these years? They were there.
They were there.
Did you have space for
them? Exactly.
Should we go to number two?
Yeah, I'd love to go to number two.
Yeah, okay. So
number two is, and it really, I think it dovetails really well with number one, but it's about how we as women communicate with a man, right? How it is that we communicate with him. Are we communicating with him in a way that is inspiring or in a way that is deflating, right? Are we communicating with him in a way that inspires, just naturally triggers that instinct within to rise up and be your knight in shining armor and to take care of you and to buy you flowers and to keep showing up, keep showing up, and keep showing up, all the things, right? Are you showing up in that way, or are you showing up in a way that is just kind of cutting him off at the knees, or really just making him not actively want to pursue and be around you, right? So one of the things, and we talk about a lot, go into a lot more depth in these feminine communication techniques that really are deeply inspirational to the masculine. We go a lot more into this in our 4-month program that Kingsford, but just to give you a little taste of this, one of the ways that we can do this as women is to express our desires in a way that is inspiring to a man, right? So one of the things that we'll hear from women is, one of the complaints that we'll hear is like, oh, he never wants to take me out, right? Or he doesn't know, he doesn't take me to the right places, right? He doesn't give me what I want, or he never gives me the kind of experiences that I want to go, or takes me on the dates I want to go on, or buys me gifts, or whatever it is, right? Like she's not having the kinds of experiences that she desires to have with men. And so one of the ways that you can begin to correct this in a very easy, simple, practical way is to begin to express your desires in a way that inspires, okay? And how to do that is, because men like specifics, right? Men respond really, really well to specifics. Sometimes I'll just give something, like I'll say something general to Jonathan and be like, oh, I wanna go out on more dates. And he's like, okay, but that's not a lot to work with, right? And that comes off as very complaining, right? It comes off as kind of entitled. It comes off as a little bit like not very inspirational, let's say. But if I identify a specific place that I desire to go, or a specific type of restaurant that I want to go to, or a specific type of experience that I would love to have, and I express that simply, clearly, in a way, in a feminine way, so I'm expressing it using the language I love or I would love, and then I'm letting it go. So for example, if you are a woman and you want to be taken out to a fine dining experience, let's say you want to go to a French restaurant, right? You really want to experience this beautiful, have this beautiful experience of being treated to this delicious 4-course meal, right? Let's just say, for example, at a French restaurant, you could just simply share, like pepper your conversations, drop this into your conversation at some point with him. It's like, yeah, I just love French food. There's this beautiful new French restaurant that just opened up downtown, and I just would love to go there sometime. And then you let it go, just drop it into your conversation, and then you trust that if he's a good man, he has heard you, he's taken this into his masculine psychology, and he's going to deliver that desire, maybe not exactly as you expected, or he's not going to like deliver, like he's like some, you know, delivery guy and he's just bringing you exactly what you want on a silver platter, but maybe it's, he's going to take you to a different restaurant, or he's going to take you to a different type of fine dining experience, or maybe he's going to take you to that restaurant. You never know, right? So there's this beautiful dance that we can get into of expressing your desires in this unattached way, in this way where you're just expressing your loves and your likes and your desires and what makes you happy and what makes you, your heart sing, and what feels good to you, right? And then you're just letting it go. You're not telling him, okay, when is this? You're not asking him, when is this going to happen? When are you going to plan this? Are you going to plan this? Are you going to arrange this? You're just letting it go, and you're trusting that, because if you're with a good man, one of his top priorities, and this goes back again to what we were talking about just a moment ago, like men are primed, they are wired for chivalry, right? Because good men, they're deeply wired to make a woman happy, to fulfill the deeper desires of her heart, to provide for her, to provide beautiful experiences for her. And so if he hears that, he will hear that if he's a good man, and he's going to take that information into his brain, and he's going to start planning something out, how to make you happy, right? We see this again and again with our clients, is like when they begin to express their desires in a way that is inspirational to him, they will start seeing him show up in all these ways, right? Maybe she'll express what type of flower she loves, or what kind of, you know, art, like a specific art museum she wants to go to, and he'll start making plans and start arranging and leading your relationship forward based on your desires. And it's a beautiful, beautiful way to really inspire that tango dance from the feminine side of the street.
Yeah. I wonder, in our Kings Road over the last 7 years, how many women have gotten married by that simple phrase. I'd love to. it's amazing when you learn these basic courtly approaches. I see a lot of love coaches out there say, when you say this specific thing in this specific moment in time, it'll work out. And we have approaches for different things because you don't want to overcomplicate it. And I'd love to is just such a great expression. Also, just with specifics, you don't want to just come in too hard and heavy. Hey, I want to go on this date at this time, and you're going to take me out. No, there's a really soft way.
There's this unattached, lack of attachment.
Because you want to give him an opportunity to step up. And we don't like test men, but we test the system of men. And so if they do step up and do well, great. They go to the next phase and the next phase. And if they don't, or they're overly cynical about your desire, maybe that one's not the one. And you don't want, actually, I'm realizing this as we're apartment hunting here in Italy, you don't want everyone to work out. It's kind of nice when we went to one apartment, I just looked at Claudia afterwards, I said, no. But we give other ones a chance, and it helps you see if he's a good man or not by inspiring chivalry. It actually lets us vet the whole situation over a series of events. And that's why everyone that has gotten together through our work, they're still together. And I think it's because of this kind of gateways of chivalry that they go through.
So beautiful. Exactly.
Number 3?
Number 3, and we've been leading up to this, but
oh yeah, you hinted at it.
We've already hinted at this, but you know, one of the things that women talk a lot about in the modern love space is this idea of having standards, right? And it's like, he's got to make this much money, he's got to be this height, and he's got to show up in this way, and he's got to take me on this fancy first date, and all of these things. Otherwise, he's not a real man, right? And whenever I hear that, I just feel there's so much armoring. I feel like there's so much entitlement. I feel like there's so much expectation that women have underneath these standards. Now, you absolutely do want standards, and there's a way to really clarify your standards in a way that really is giving, you know, kind of it's holding, like really clarifying what really, really matters to you, and ultimately what truly matters in creating an extraordinary marriage, and like really starting that off from the get-go of really looking for the right things, vetting for the right things versus vetting for the wrong things. So these are the things that we talk about, again, in a lot more depth in our Kingsford program. It's like how to actually clarify your true standards. But going into a courtship experience or going out on a date with all of these expectations and all of this kind of entitlement of how a man needs to show up or he's not good enough, it's just not very inspiring. It's not very inviting. It's not creating this atmosphere that really triggers a man to want to rise up for you and to be your hero and to be chivalrous and want to provide and want to protect and want to pursue. And so what we have to do, ladies, is clarify our true standards, what really, really matters to us, and then let the rest go. Like, soften around perhaps some of the places your ego has been gripping. Oh, he's got to be this height, or he's got to make this much money. Yeah, you might want a guy that is maybe a little bit taller than you, right? Or, you know, a man that you certainly feel like can provide for you if and when you decide to have children, right? Like these things are important, but having it be these kind of standards on steroids, right? Where it's actually it's more like walls. You want to be able to soften some of this and really clarify what really matters, right? What truly, truly matters in this man. When you let that go, you inspire tremendous amount of chivalry. You really like create this atmosphere where men just want to take care of you and be your hero and rise up for you and slay the dragon for you, versus you've got this list in your head of how you think a man should be and how you expect him to be. It's really just all based on your preferences, right? Your egoic preferences, not on the true standards of what you actually need to create an extraordinary marriage, right? And so softening some of that and then really being this receptive woman that is deeply attuned to the gifts of the masculine, deeply attuned to the gifts that he is already bringing to the date, to the courtship. And when you do this, you're going to inspire more and more and more. And he's going to, then you receive it more and more and more. And you get to be more and more and more surprised and delighted by how he's showing up. You receive that graciously and gratefully. And then you acknowledge that to him. And then he feels like $1 million, right? He feels like he's 10 feet tall, and then he wants to do more and more and more. And you get into this beautiful spiraling up effect. You get into this beautiful compound effect where things just get better and better and better. And that's how you start the relationship off. You start it off on this beautiful foot where things get to get better and better and better. And this dance just gets to keep going and going and going because you started off from this place. Okay?
Yeah, I think hypersizing men up it kills chemistry. You're not gonna, even if he's financially abundant, wealthy, 6'8", you're gonna have nothing to offer him. And if he came that way to a date, you would hate it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, oh, well, she's not this hot and this and this. It just kills this chemistry, and it's happening in modern love across the planet. But when you let that go, throw out the list as one of our first earliest teachings, then you meet a man who maybe is more substantial and significant than you ever dreamed of.
Mm-hmm.
Like our ladies get their dream partner, their soulmate, their husband, their sacred marriage. They just don't live this egoic fantasy that was in their head that was actually blocking their love lives anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's a trap that's keeping a lot of people single, men.
100%. 100%. Yeah.
I think men's list is more on hotness and things. And boy, have I seen them make mistakes with that. You know,
Yeah.
women, it's height and career, but you are definitely allowed standards. And one of those standards in chivalry is he's got to pay on a first date. If he doesn't pay on a first date, that's a red flag. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Things like that. But dropping that list is key. And when Claudia even started saying that, my whole masculine system, I could just feel it shut down and repel.
Yeah.
Anytime entitlement, like extreme entitlement, comes at a masculine man, he's probably going to run away. I think this, when ladies ask often on the TikToks I watch, why do men ghost? I think they're doing a lot of that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you know, they're coming very entitled. I've been on some of those dates and they just suck. I never had a second date with that kind of, because it's not really a date. It's not, you need to get to know each other and find taste. And lasting marriage starts with a real romance. And it's kind of the death of romance, isn't it?
Yeah, entitlement. Yeah, it's very like rigid too. Like I feel like there's like a rigidity about it. That is the opposite of receptivity.
Yeah, I feel like it's two dudes coming to the same date.
Yeah,
it's very masculine.
Definitely. Yeah.
Very penetrative.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So why don't we review the three just real quick? One was.
Yeah. So one is creating space for him to step in and step forward and step up.
Two was
expressing your desires in a way that inspires him.
Key, with appreciation. And three was
dropping entitlement, like clarifying your true standards and dropping entitlement and dropping expectations so you can create that atmosphere where he really wants to take care of you.
Amen.
I really feel like if women did this, like these three things across, that we would live in a very, very different culture.
Yeah, I do too, because as much as we blame the men, we can't. Men, you're to blame. But when women change, the men change.
Yes.
I always think of it like, not maybe the best metaphor, but when you have the bait versus the fish. If I yell at the fish, he's not going to do anything. But if the lady moves, the feminine tone changes, the men change too.
Yeah.
Not all. You know, some you just let go, throw back to the sea.
Yeah.
But a lot of men, when you approach them this way, it's such a gift to even watch this and help it happen. Because I like listening and seeing if they're getting it. And they're like, oh, wow, she's really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, this is what I've always dreamt love could be like. Oh, this is a keeper. My world, my life is going to appreciate with her over time and get better. And that's how we get you married.
That's what husband material men are looking for, really. Is that experience.
Okay, which is, can we state that?
Like that appreciation where it just gets better. Like I appreciate in her, like when I'm around her.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for. And that's the gift you women provide. It's such a gift for the men. I love helping the women become brides, but I know they're a huge gift for the men too out there. Like it's just such a great alchemy. We really feel like kingdom marriage or sacred marriage is like, and it took us a while to get there ourselves, but we think it's the best thing on the planet. So if you are,
100%.
yeah, so if you are, we didn't even realize how cool marriage was until we got in it. We're like, whoa, why didn't more people tell us? They did. But if you're a lady who would like to become a bride this year, and you're ready to go on this journey, you've got most of your life figured out, fairly responsible, and you're ready to make this a top priority, we would like to speak with you because our King's Road program is starting very soon. And we have set aside some calls for, I do them, to talk to you about your love life and see if we can help you. And if we can, we'll totally invite you in. And if not, it's usually a great call on your love anyways. But if you're ready to be a bride, this is who we can help. And our clients, if you're coachable, we have an extremely high success rate.
Mm-hmm.
So we will put a link in the comments below. You can just click there, fill out a little, you apply to book your call, and then I think we'll probably have the best call about love that you've ever had.
Yeah. And our King's Road program really is, those of you who are new here, or perhaps you were just, this is the first time you encountered our work, it really is our 4-month journey that we have. It's our program that we have mastered over the past almost 8 years now of doing this work together and really going on a massive journey ourselves of coming into marriage and really discovering what works and what doesn't work, and then working with hundreds of clients all over the world and really testing these principles that we're speaking of here. And we go deep into courtship, and we go deep into healing your relationship with your own feminine essence, and you're healing your relationship with the masculine. And so you can go out on this journey of courtship in a way that is very fruitful, in a way that really aligns you with a much higher caliber of men that perhaps you've ever attracted before. And like Jonathan was saying, we do have an incredible success rate for women who go through the whole program. And, many of them become brides within a year, or certainly are well on their way to engagement and marriage and beyond. So that's something that you're interested in, something that you resonate with, please go ahead and book the call to speak with us below, and speak with Jonathan below. We look forward to hearing from you.
Absolutely. And what I really love, it's a methodology that goes step by step. It's not confusing. It's kind of basic, and you can really become a master of this in 4 months.
That's right.
We call it the King's Road because it's like driving school. Once you graduate, you should be pretty good to go. And maybe the number one thing I've realized is people struggle in love because they just don't know what to do.
Yeah.
What I love is after the 4 months, you'll know what to do. So click on the link, and we look forward to talking to you.
All right. Ciao for now.